Hi, welcome to today's episode in the series How Dynamics Can Save Your Life. My name is Alex Krelitz, and I'm going to talk to you about elevator emergencies and the best way to solve them. Follow me, and we'll take a journey into the magical world of elevators and emergencies. Imagine you're in an elevator, such as this one, and the cables snap that hold the elevator, and it begins to fall. The emergency brakes fail, and it keeps falling 10 meters. What do? Is it better to lock your knees straight, or is it better to bend your knees and crouch as the impact occurs?
The assumptions that we made for this problem are laid out here. The elevator mass we assume to be 1,200 kilograms. The person mass we assume to be 90 kilograms. The acceleration by gravity we assume to be 10 meters per second squared. The starting height we assume to be 10 meters, which is about 3 stories high. We ignored air friction and all frictional forces on the elevator. And for stiff knees, we assume the time to go from your starting velocity to 0 was 0.1 seconds, and for bent knees, we assumed it to be 0.3 seconds. Next, we use the energy equation to find the velocity before impact. The kinetic energy at the top before the elevator was released is 0. The potential energy is the mass of the elevator times the acceleration of gravity times the height of the elevator. The work is 0 because we ignored all friction forces. And the kinetic energy before impact is 1/2 times the mass of the elevator times the velocity squared. And the potential energy is ignored because the height is 0. And the final velocity we found to be 14.14 meters per second.
Once we found the final velocity just before impact, we use the linear momentum or impulse equation, which has the impulse of the person times their velocity just before impact, plus the impulse as they impact against the final momentum, which is in this case going to be 0 since the velocity is going to be 0 at the end of the impact. And the reason that we only use the person's weight or the mass is because they're on top of the elevator, and since they're on top of the elevator, they're not receiving any impact from the elevator itself. It's just their amount of mass. So we multiply their mass by the final velocity we found to get the impulse, which is equal to 1,272.6 Newton seconds.
Our goal is to find out whether this impulse is survivable or not. We did some research and found out that an average G that a person can withstand and survive is about 7 Gs, which would be 70 meters per second squared of acceleration. To find out the forces involved, we use the force equals mass times acceleration equation, and we multiply 90 kilograms for the mass of the person times 70 meters per second for the 7G acceleration. We found the force to be 6,300 newtons. So if it's below that force, you would survive. If it's above that force, it would be fatal.
Now that we know our kill force that will kill somebody of 90 kilogram mass, then we can figure out what the time to stop would be that's appropriate in order to save someone based on whether they have locked knees or they have bent knees. And so we'll use the 2 times that we assumed of 0.1 second and 0.3 second. And so then for the initial 0.1 second of somebody with locked knees in the impact, we took the impulse and we divided it by that time, and we got 12,726 newtons of force applied. And that's greater than the kill force, which means that locking your knees means that you'll die. So then we went and we assumed 0.3 seconds if you bend your knees when the elevator impacts to absorb the impact as like a crouch. And so we divided the initial impulse by the time, and we got a force of 4,242 newtons applied. And that force is less than the kill force, which means that since it's less than the kill force, bending your knees and crouching will save you.
I think it's falling.
Oh no! It's falling 10 meters! Lock your knees, I'll bend my knees, and we'll see who lives! Oh my gosh, she's dead! I lived! Dynamics saved my life! Thankfully, I survived this mishap with the elevator. Sadly, my friend did not though, and that's thanks to the power of dynamics. And as a result, I'm alive, and we can be thankful that I can attend class once again with Dr. Swartout.